Chapter 8. Reimagining Wordscape. The late afternoon light cast a honey hue over Wordscape's flagship store in downtown Knoxville, pooling gently along the brick façade and highlighting its timeless charm. Inside, the smell of aged paper and freshly brewed coffee mingled in the air. Customers meandered through the aisles, but the energy was subdued, like a heartbeat that had slowed with time. Kirsten noticed it immediately as she entered the sprawling 3-story bookstore. Samuel Grant greeted her at the entrance. "Dr. Anderson," he said with a faint smile, "welcome back. I hope you're ready for another long day." "I wouldn't miss it," Kirsten replied warmly, her gaze sweeping the space. "You've built something extraordinary here, Mr. Grant. I can feel it." Samuel's brow furrowed, and for a moment he looked weary. "It doesn't feel extraordinary anymore. It feels stagnant," he confessed, echoing the silent concerns that had been growing within the team. Kirsten turned to him, her voice thoughtful but certain. "Stagnant isn't the end, Samuel. It's the moment just before something new emerges." Over the next several days, Kirsten immersed herself in Wordscape's rhythms. She sat unobtrusively near the front desk, watching customers as they browsed and noted how they lingered, or didn't. She attended book club gatherings and author readings, listening closely to the hum of conversation. She walked the quiet upper floors where shelves of literary classics gathered dust. Each observation added to her understanding of the store's challenges: underutilized spaces, outdated events, and an atmosphere that had grown passive rather than engaging. Wordscape was beloved, but its connection to the community felt frayed. The world had changed, and Wordscape had remained a little too still. During a late afternoon meeting with Samuel, Rachel Conley, Andrew Hart, and Tina Richard, Kirsten finally spoke. "Wordscape isn't broken," she began, "but it's underwhelming in its potential. The problem isn't what you've built, it's how you invite people to experience it." Kirsten's words carried a belief in the untapped potential of the bookstore. Rachel frowned slightly. "How do you mean?" "Your events are lovely," Kirsten replied, her tone encouraging, "but they're routine. People come for a book signing, and they leave. They attend a club, and they leave. What's missing is a sense of ongoing connection, something that turns Wordscape into more than a store. It needs to become a cultural hub." Tina perked up. "Like a community center?" "More than that," Kirsten replied, tapping her pen lightly on the table. "It's about reimagining what people come here to find. Books, yes, but also ideas, conversations, and connection." Andrew, the voice of skepticism, crossed his arms. "And how do we make people care enough to show up? This isn't 1995. People can engage online," he challenged, voicing the doubts that had been lingering in the room. "Exactly," Kirsten replied, her voice smoothing the edges of unspoken doubt. "We use the online world to bring them back here." Kirsten spent the next week guiding the team to develop a series of interactive and experiential events that positioned Wordscape as the heartbeat of its community. Each idea aligned the bookstore's identity with its strengths: literature, storytelling, and engagement. 1. The Wordscape Literary Festival, a quarterly event featuring local and national authors, panel discussions, and workshops. The festival would combine storytelling with community connection, attracting book lovers and aspiring writers alike. 2. Story Hours with Impact. Partnering with schools and libraries, Wordscape would host theme story hours aligned with social causes, environmental awareness, diversity, and literacy. Children and families would be invited to engage with stories that inspired action. 3. The Author in Residence program. Wordscape would invite writers to reside in the store for a month, engaging with customers in real time, sharing their process, and building buzz around their work. 4. Local Voices, Global Stories. A hybrid series of live and virtual events featuring authors and speakers whose work explored cultural issues, tying in broader societal conversations while creating a local touchpoint. 5. The Wordscape Cafe Nights. A weekly gathering combining poetry slams, open mic storytelling, and live music. These nights would turn the bookstore into a vibrant cultural space after hours. Kirsten guided the team as they turned these ideas into actionable plans. Tina drafted partnerships with schools and local nonprofits. Rachel created schedules and budgets, and Andrew, begrudgingly at first, started brainstorming online campaigns to promote the new vision. 3 weeks later, the first Wordscape Literary Festival launched. The store bustled with activity as readers, authors, and families filled every available space. The main floor hosted panel discussions on literature's role in cultural change. At the same time, children gathered in small circles upstairs, captivated by storytellers. Samuel stood near the back, watching as lines formed for book signings. Laughter echoed from the cafe, and people stayed long after events had ended. For the first time in years, Wordscape felt alive, not just as a bookstore, but as a destination. Kirsten approached, her presence anchoring the whirlwind of activity. "It's working," she said softly. Samuel turned to her, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I haven't seen it like this since we first opened." "It's only the beginning," Kirsten replied. "You've reminded people that Wordscape is a place to connect, learn, and grow. That's how you remain relevant, not by competing with the digital world, but by offering what it can't." Samuel nodded, his gaze lingering on the crowd. "You know what else this feels like?" "What?" "Momentum." Kirsten smiled, the word resonating deeply. Momentum thrives when people come together around something that matters, and now they have. By the end of the month, Wordscape's sales had risen sharply, bolstered by the festival and the wave of community events. Social media buzzed with photos and stories of families, writers, and readers rediscovering the magic of the bookstore. As Samuel closed the store one evening, he glanced back at the space, alive with possibility and humming with connection. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel like he was holding on to the past. He was stepping into the future.